All right, hour 5 is now upon us, and the Detroit Lions have done absolutely nothing since 8:30 this morning. But we're going to talk about it. I just saw something in here. Better the Hunt says, "Heck yeah" on that kicker. So I must have missed the signing just now on the kicker. I haven't seen anything that is flashed across just yet. So you guys can give me a hand here with that. I haven't seen anything pop up on a kicker. Unless it happened a long time ago and I'm just missing it. So we didn't sign Kickalicious. Did we really? I was talking about him today. We didn't sign no Kickalicious. You guys got to be kidding me. You guys are just having fun. Well, that's all we can do at this point is have fun. So let's talk about what we've got so far. My voice is already starting to die today, but let's just talk about it. Here's what I'm seeing right now. And that's pretty evident that there's two teams in the NFC North that are trying to get incrementally better, if not way better. And that's the Vikings and the Packers. The Vikings have touchdown Detroit Lions. Oh, we just had another subscriber run DC. That's what I'm talking about. Appreciate it. So the Vikings, the Packers have added Joshua Jacobs and Xavier McKinney today. So the Lions now have a big test in front of them. Joshua Jacobs is a heck of a running back. You know, it's now like do or die. What are you going to do, Brad Holmes? We are great against the run, but all of those players that we had on this team are now are gone or going to be gone unless he's going to re-sign them. So we've got to do something. We've got to do something on the defensive line. We have to. Or we have to get really good on the back end of the defense so our defensive line can work. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Yeah, appreciate the subscription there, Stephen Reed. Much appreciated. That's what I'm talking about, number 9. I'm not so worried about the Bears. I mean, they signed Swift. So what? Who cares? Not worried. They don't have an offensive line. And Ryan Poles is making a big mistake by bringing Swift in and not addressing the biggest concern, which is their offensive line, in my opinion. But the Vikings, I mean, they lost Kirk Cousins. They don't have a quarterback yet, but they are in position to be able to take a good quarterback in this draft. They bring in 3 linebackers, Van Ginkel, Greenard, and Cashman. And those guys are set to compete with everything over the middle. Where the Lions do their business is over the middle. And now they brought in 3 guys that are going to compete for that. And they're going to compete against Sam Laporta and Amon-Ra St. Brown and anybody else that comes across the middle. And it's also going to compete with our run game, Jahmyr Gibbs and Demo. So those two teams are getting better. Right now, the Detroit Lions are kind of standing pat. They haven't done a whole lot. And yeah, like the thumbnail says, man, I think Brad's asleep. He must be taking a siesta. And that's, that's not good. I mean, he pulls rabbits out of his hats. We know that. That's Brad. That's what he does. But let's talk about the rest of the league here. So Danico Autry to the Texans. Leonard Floyd just went to the 49ers. And of course, all this stuff is speculated, but it's Pelissero, Rappaport, all those guys that are reporting this. So it's pretty solid information. Texans also agreed with cornerback Mike Ford. Devin Duvernay is headed to the Jags. The Bucs are re-signing their defensive tackle Greg Gaines. Quarterback Gardner Minshew heads to the Raiders. This is why the Raiders are a laughingstock. You go out and take. Jameson makes the catch. Touchdown. Hey, thank you, Justin, for the subscription. Much appreciated. That's what I'm talking about, number 9. You go out and take the best defensive tackle, in my opinion, that's available, and then you bring in a quarterback like that, Gardner Minshew, like at $25 million. Are you serious right now? So that is such a. They're just laughing. All the way to the bank. They got all this money. Wilkins just got a huge payday, but he's going to play for a team that's not going to win. Could have come to a winner for a lot less money, but You could have won a Lombardi more than likely with the Detroit Lions before you ever will with the Las Vegas Raiders. Safety, Geno Stone is headed to the Bengals. Running back Gus Edwards headed to the Chargers. Running back Devin Singletary headed to the Giants. Your favorite corner, Jeff Okudah, headed to the Texans. And Xavier McKinney, like I said, headed to the Packers. So, yeah, my voice is gone. There's still plenty of players available, right? I mean, I seen someone put it up in the chat here that, yeah, isn't that sad that even Okudah found a home? Yeah, that's sad. That's really sad. And Brad hasn't done anything. Doesn't mean he's not working. You know, it doesn't mean that he's not going to put something together. And I see a lot of people want Hunter. I mean, Hunter is by far the best defensive edge available right now. But I'm a bit worried about how much money he wants. And I said these names earlier, but you know, when you look at who's still available, obviously Danielle Hunter is up there, right? Frankie Louvu, even though he's a linebacker from the Carolina Panthers, he's still available. He's interesting. Let's see. Zadarius Smith is still around. Kendall Fuller, Awuzie, Chase Young, Levante David, Sheldon Rankins, Xavier Howard, cornerback, Bobby Wagner from the Seahawks, Steven Nelson, DJ Reader, Jordan Fuller. I think he's already gone. Matter of fact, I think he is gone. I think he went early. Maybe not. Nope, he might still be available. So there's still some options. You know, I guess at this point, you know, J-Rod says, I'm not counting out Tart, Jeffrey Simmons, or, you know, Justin Simmons. Justin Simmons is a great option for a safety, but we need a corner and we need some defensive tackles or a defensive end. We really do. We've got giant holes. I am now convinced, at least through today. Now, we haven't seen a bunch of wide receivers, you know, getting taken so far. Matter of fact, there's not a whole lot of them available. I mean, there's always some available, but there's really nobody that stands out this season other than Calvin Ridley. You know, he's about the only one. Justin Simmons, clearly the number one free safety right now that I would be looking at. The good news is nobody from the Detroit Lions outside of Jonah Jackson has been taken away from the Lions. And I think that says something. And I do want people to understand that if nobody else is rushing to the door to escort our players somewhere else, then that tells you as to why these players are on the bubble. It tells you why they're not signed yet. Brad is still gauging the market. You know, he's still waiting to see who's available. And in the way that Brad plays, I think is pretty simple to understand. He's letting all of these top tier guys and some of these second tier guys, you know, go off the board, guys that he probably doesn't want. I'm sure that he would have loved to have had Wilkins, but not for that kind of money. I'm sure that he would have loved to have Chris Jones, but not for that kind of money. So he's watching, you know, all of these players, you know, go other places, and then you're going to have the leftovers. And it doesn't mean that they're all bad, but those guys are going to be itching to get a deal done. Those agents are going to be itching to get a deal done. So their market value is going to drop over midnight. You know, what maybe was a $7 million deal, now it might be a $6 million deal. Believe it or not, $1 million is a big deal in the NFL because $1 million signs a vet to a minimum deal. It also will sign just about anybody to, you know, a rookie contract. So at this point, there's options left. I'm not totally saying the ship has sailed, but there's a lot of work that needs to get done. The good news is I pegged, like I said, AJ Epinesa to the Lions. That is still an option. Oh, we got some more news here. Defensive tackle Justin Jones has now agreed to terms with the Arizona Cardinals. And that's it. I could have sworn I saw Lions right there. I was about to lose it. But it said Leonard Floyd, not the Lions. So defensive tackle Justin Jones is now signed at the 5 hour and 17-minute mark, or will be signing with the Arizona Cardinals. So, overall, what are you guys thinking at this point? Are you surprised? Is this just more of the same that we see every season from Brad Holmes? He usually doesn't do a whole lot. I want to say it was on the eve of the first night that we signed Cam Sutton, or at least we knew that Cam Sutton was coming. And then I think it was the second day that we knew CJ Gardner-Johnson was on his way, and Emmanuel Mosley. I think they kind of dropped at the same time. So who did we lose out on Awuzie to? I didn't see that one get posted yet. Is it Tennessee Titans? Okay, 16 seconds ago. 5:17 p.m. Nope. Oh, right below that. It says 6 minutes ago, Awuzie has now agreed to terms with the Tennessee Titans. Figures 3-year deal. Absolutely nuts. I can't wait to see how much this deal was, because if it was anything around that 6 to 8 million mark that I thought it was going to be around, or did I say 7 to 9? Anyway, if it's under 10 million and above 6 million, that's a good deal. I'd pay that all day and twice on Sunday. But I don't have Sheila's checkbook, so Awuzie's now off the list. Who are we going to bring in? How are we going to fill all these holes? Well, there's only so far that you can go with, all third string guys that you're trying to turn in.
Jameson makes the catch. Touchdown Detroit Lions. That's what I'm talking about.
Brad's taking a big risk right now by betting on the draft, because this is not the draft to bet on. It really isn't. Especially when you don't have an extra first round pick. If we had 6 picks in the top 100, I wouldn't be as concerned. Matter of fact, let me pull up the Lions roster, and I'm going to apologize about the chat up front, because it's really difficult. We've got so many people flying into these streams now. It is really difficult to get to everybody's messages. I might have to put some limits on it in the future, just to slow it down a little bit. That way we can get to some of the questions. Blue Yeti says, is there anybody out there with an ACL tear? I'm sure that Brad will bring him in. Yeah, that really burns me up. Like, Emmanuel Mosley was not the answer. And I get it. Cheap deal. I've spoken about it to death. I've beaten, the dead horse. It's just not what we're looking for as fans, right? I'm not the GM. I'm a fan. I may redo, media, and I may be reporting things, but from a fan's perspective, it's like, come on, we've had enough of the injury stuff. It's time to move beyond that. That just continues to bring up our pain from the past of all of these injured players out there. I'm not sure if Shaq Barrett, fresh and fly, I'm not sure if Shaq Barrett is out there yet. I don't have his name written down, so it's still quite possible that he is available. I like to think that I've done a pretty good job of trying to keep track of, all of these. I probably have about 90% of them. Let me just do a quick search for you real quick. And I will say that, it's still good news too, that Danielle Hunter is still not locked up. I think that's encouraging, to say the least. That there's still hope that we could get, a game wrecker type of player added to this team. I do not see anywhere where Shaquille Barrett has been re-signed by anybody. But if we were to take a quick look at his salary cap, wow. Yeah, the Bucks got screwed in this last year. What is this? Did he seriously have about a $31 million year in 2023? Is that what I'm seeing here? If you add the void year in, that's what it looks like. Anyway, 26.6 million dead cap number in 2024. So, and then I don't know that I'm very high in Shaq Barrett. I honestly don't know a ton about him, but he's 31 and a half years old already. I would have to do some research on him. Let me check the Twitter world here and see if there's anything else that's happened. I don't see anything else. All right, so let me pull up the free agent list here. So as of 3 hours ago, this list was updated. And all right, so here we go. Where's the list? Oh, what a terrible article. I just want the list. Give me 1 second. I apologize. Sorry about the delay here. I guess the point that I'm going to try to drive home is, what are the Lions going to be able to do over the next couple of days that could really help out this team? We've gone over the roster numerous times together on this channel, and we've spoken about it at length. And I think that the thing that's most important to realize is there's a ton of holes. Like there's a ton of holes that needed to be addressed. And I think that's why, you get people like Derek that are so passionate about this, because, we were this close, 30 minutes away from making a Super Bowl. And we accomplished everything in one season that the Lions have never really accomplished since like the 50s. So when you finally have that taste of victory and just, a little bit of taste of success, especially being starved, of it for all of these decades, that kind of, leaves a sour taste in your mouth if you go into the next season and you don't try to get better. Like it really makes me scratch my head. Like, what are we trying to do? Because you didn't need all this money, all of this cap space just to extend all of the guys that you wanted to extend. Whether that's Jared Goff, Amon-Ra, Penei Sewell, you can literally extend them all and probably have the same amount of cap space in 2024 that you do right now. Literally. So Lions roster, here's what we're missing. And compared to the previous season, so we had 5 wide receivers in 2023. Right now we have Amon-Ra, Khalif Raymond, Jameson Williams, Antoine Green, Traquan Smith, and Tom Kennedy. So we do have 6, which is about what the Lions will carry into the 53-man rosters. Most years they carry 5, but they have been carrying 6 at times. So in my opinion, we're going to need one in the draft. I'm expecting that the Lions are probably going to draft a wide receiver. I would not expect them to pick up another free agent, but I could be wrong. We'll see what Brad Holmes does, because right now he's got us all rattled. No, we have not re-signed St. Brown yet. Tight end. So we tendered Brock Wright. Obviously, Sam Laporta's tied up for a few years. James Mitchell's, on the roster, and Shane Zielstra is set to come back. So you have plenty of tight ends, and I would say if you left that room alone, you're probably fine. If a tight end became available in the draft, that is really good and it's the best player available, again, I wouldn't be surprised if Brad takes a tight end. I really wouldn't be surprised. But do we need one? No. If all of those players come back and play healthy, we're fine. Offensive line. Last season, we only carried 8, and this kind of baffled me because the Lions usually like to carry 10 on the offensive line into the 53. And on the O-line, we have this: a left tackle in Decker, no left guard, center in Ragnow, a right guard in Graham Glasgow, thankfully as of 8:30 this morning. So now it's been a full, 9 hours since we've done anything. And then, of course, you got your right tackle, Penei Sewell. Now, I think Coyote Awosika I think he's signed or he's an exclusive rights free agent. Kobe Sorsdahl is signed for a few seasons. That's all we really have. Doesn't make any sense to me at all. Does not make any sense that we're not out there trying to pull guys in, and fill the need. Because as of right now, you're going to have, you're going to waste 3 picks in the draft on offensive line? Your first 3 picks going to be offensive line? Because that's what I'm seeing right now. You need backups. It's not like that there's a ton of backups out there. And I think that we've proven this enough that, and no, we're not firing Brad Holmes. Niners in here. Look at you. Look, I think that we've proven it enough what happens when we don't have an offensive line. Our team struggles big time. So why would you take a strength and turn it into an immediate weakness? The immediate weakness right now is our offensive line. Compared to last year was a strength. Now we are returning 4 out of the 5 starters. So that's pretty damn good. But who do we have behind them? We know during the season that Ragnow's going to get his rest. Taylor Decker's going to get his rest. And well-deserved rest. Dare I say that even Glasgow is probably going to be able to get some rest. But Ragnow is having trouble staying healthy. Once week 1 starts, it's the clock starts to tick to when Ragnow is going to go down for a game or 2. And this could be his last season. So we needed a center. We needed a center somewhere, either in free agency or, more than likely the draft. He'll probably draft a center. But we legit have 3 holes yet to fill on the offensive line. Minimum 2, but more like 3. So far through the offense, we need a receiver, 2 offensive linemen at a minimum. On the defensive side of the ball, we had 5 defensive linemen interior last season: Aleem McNeil, Buggs, Onwuzurike, Broderick Martin, and Benito Jones. Of course, we added Tyson Alualu last year. I did not expect him to come back. Obviously, he's 6 years old? Or 34. Right now, our starting defensive tackles is Aleem McNeil, who's only signed through 2024, Broderick Martin, who's signed through 2026 or 7, and Onwuzurike, who is signed through 2025 maybe, or this could be his last year. No, I think next year's his last year. Excuse me. So Dom the Bandit, who announced that we had interest in DJ Reader? Like, I'd be interested to know who announced it. If it wasn't Tom Pelissero or Rap Sheet, be careful. So Onwuzurike, look, he hasn't stayed healthy. He's barely able to play each season, and even when he gets in, he has not been dominant at all. His first season, he played pretty well, and then he got hurt, and he's never been the same since. Yeah, J-Rod Glasgow is a guard center, absolutely, but if Ragnow goes down and Glasgow has to slide over, who's going to come in? Who are we going to put in at guard? Colby Sorsdahl? He was terrible last year. Like, he's going to have to double up what he did last year to even be decent. So at any point, what I'm trying to tell you guys here is there's too many big holes. And the big holes that need to get filled need to happen right away. Otherwise, this team is going to enter this season with a bunch of weaknesses. Who's saying that DJ Reader signed with us? Who's that? Chris Time says Reader did just sign with us. I'm still waiting for you to tell me who your sources are. Hold on a second. Hello? All right, AJ Epinesa is off the board. He is gone. He's heading to the Bills. They're bringing him back. So we are highly limited, highly limited of what we can do now to solidify the defensive edge position. I don't know what he's doing. Did he take the day off? This is baffling to me because who else are you going to get? he must be expecting to pull off something big. And I'll get into that in another show. Once we get through free agency. Of course, it could come down in free agency too. No, I'm not going to say it. All right. So, we've got two holes on the defensive front at a minimum, right? You've got defensive tackle that you're going to need because Aleem either has to be extended or he doesn't come back. Broderick Martin, he is not the starting quality defensive tackle that we're looking for yet. Maybe never, but we don't know what we have in him. Levi Onwuzurike hurt too much. Detroit Sports Talk says Reader signed with us. I don't know why you guys keep saying that. There's been interest in Reader. Armstead is, I think he's gone. Is he not? I think there's 3 or 4 teams that have been, interested in Reader, but I haven't seen anywhere where Reader's been signed yet or expected to sign. So again, if you let me know a source, then DJ Reader, Golden FFC, it'd be DJ Reader.
Jameson makes the catch. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, number 9.
All right. So defensive interior, you can't trust Onwuzurike. Don't know what we have in Martin. Even if you extend Aleem, it doesn't help us. So you need at least one really solid defensive tackle. And then on the edge, I think that we've gone through this enough. Aiden is all we have. We don't know what we have in Betts. Kaminsky is a crapshoot. Pascal also plays on the interior of the defensive line. He's kind of a hybrid. And Charles Lemp, Eric Armstead, right? I don't know who he's signed with. I thought he was gone. Or there was going to be a trade or something going on. There's too many guys to keep tabs on. He's with San Francisco. But they were talking about releasing Eric Armstead yesterday. And I don't see anything right now. So he's from what I understand, he had a big injury last year too, right? Was it during the Super Bowl? No. Anyway, he's not supposed to come back until like training camp. He's also 30 years old. So at the end of the day, what I'm looking at is on the edge. Again, we don't know what we have in Betts. We don't know what we have in Houston coming off of injury. We only have Aiden on the left side. Kaminsky's a crapshoot. Pascal plays inside and outside, so you could put him up into the interior defensive tackle position. But then again, you're still down one guy. Linebacker. I think we're pretty good here, but we could potentially need one. So you need one defensive tackle, one defensive edge, possibly a linebacker. But then you get to corner. We have Cam Sutton in Gilmore. Emmanuel Mosley isn't going to do anything until probably week 4. And even then, we don't even know what he's going to be able to do. So you need a number 2, and then you need a backup and a backup at a minimum. So you need 3 corners. You need 3 defensive line guys between edge tackle, and linebacker. That's 6 guys on the defensive side of the ball, minimum. And then, of course, the free safety. CJGJ, unless he comes back, and he's supposed to be hitting free agency. Unless he comes back, you need another free safety. So 7 guys on defense, minimum of 3 guys on the offensive side of the ball that are all backup and starting positions. How are you going to do that with 7 draft picks? You're not. So at a minimum, he would have to pick up at least 3 guys in free agency. And we haven't seen anything yet. So, it's a little worrisome. And I see your comments too, like, don't worry about, whatever, just trust in Brad. I've always supported Brad. I think he's the best GM that the Lions have ever had. I think that he's one of the best GMs in the league, hands down, without a doubt. But I do question right now why we're not trying to get really good, quickly. That's what I do question. As far as Chase Young there, J-Rod, look, I don't know what's going on with Chase Young and why no one's really gone after him. We're not hearing anything about Chase Young. But you have 2 guys right now that are out there in the open market that have not been picked up. I am really disappointed that AJ Epinesa is gone back to the Bills. So they must have cleared enough cap to be able to bring him back. And that was after Leonard Floyd. I can't remember what team he went to now. Let's see. Leonard Floyd went to the 49ers. So they obviously had to bring him back. Maybe they were trying to, wrap up Leonard Floyd for another year. And it just didn't work out. You know what? That would probably be a great landing spot for Young to stick with the 49ers. Now that they just brought in Leonard Floyd, though, that could be the writing on the wall. That they're looking to go a different direction. It's a good point, Antoine. A lot of these guys are getting overpaid. And no, it's not because of the increase in salary cap. It's some of these guys are just getting way too much money for teams that are trying to get good quickly. All right, let's see who else is moving right now. Looks like tight end Will Dissly is going to take a 3-year deal with the Chargers. So that's it for all the updates right now. It's 5:41. We'll probably come back on around the 7 or 8 o'clock hour. It is Monday night, so we don't normally have an off the cuff on Monday night, but what I'll plan on is I'll definitely come back at the 8 o'clock hour unless something breaks with the Lions. But otherwise, we'll do an 8 o'clock 1 hour show for Off the Cuff, and we'll recap the entire day. But if something breaks, we will be back. I appreciate all you guys that are in here right now. Just remember, you come in for the live streams when we're live. We pay all the ad fees. You guys do not. There is 0 ads during the time that we're live. But once the stream ends, that's when the ads kind of kick in. And I know they can be a pain in the butt, but that's just something that YouTube does. So appreciate all you guys jumping in and having fun in the chat. And Sports Talk with Rob. Hey, man, I see you in there. How you doing? He says, this is almost worse than losing the NFC Championship. It's hard. It's hard. We're passionate fans. And we're passionate that we want to see change. And we want to see us take that extra step to get somewhere. Now, I've said it before. Watch Brad Holmes blow our minds tonight at midnight. And we're going to be like, oh, everything's okay. It seems like it happens every year. Something happens. And we've been incrementally getting better every season that he's been the GM. So I do trust Brad Holmes. I just wanted to see some of the players that were great fits for this team make their way here. And it didn't happen. So hopefully he's got a big plan, and we'll find out tonight. Hopefully. All right, we'll be back.
Makes the catch. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, number 9.